Good morning. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Good morning. Good morning. What a morning it has been, and happy International Women's Day to all the beautiful women of light and everyone that is watching the replay and watching on live. It's really exciting to be on here. Good morning. If you're on Facebook, please say hello and where you're watching from. And if you're on the webinar, good morning to you, lovely ladies. And looking forward to sharing with you. Good morning, Annie. Good morning, Beck. Looking forward to sharing with you some really interesting and exciting stuff. Good morning, Roseanne. Happy International Women's Day to start with. I hope you've had a beautiful weekend. And I know I have. I've started painting. And so let me just move some of my stuff here. I've started painting, and it was really quite challenging this morning. Will I work or will I paint? Because I've been really enjoying myself with the painting. So today we've got a huge topic, and it's really interesting because I came up with this topic before I realised it was International Women's Day. So today we're talking about speaking your truth and the consequences of that. Good morning, Tammy. Good evening, Tammy. I'd love to know where you're watching from. So it's really an interesting topic. So if you're on Facebook and you would like to join in, what we do with A Dose of Sunshine is we actually have 20 minutes on Facebook Live on the page and on the group. And then if you're interested, good morning, Irene, if you're interested in being part of the visualization or meditation, then you just have to register and jump onto Zoom and you'll be able to get that. Plus, we send you the recording and we also send you a mini PDF as well. So you get an audio of the actual visualization separately, and then you get a recording as well. So if you're interested, Irene, would you be able to just throw the link into the chat? And then if you're interested, then jump onto Zoom so that you get the whole experience. So speaking your truth, right? There's a little surprise at the end of the 20 minutes as well. So I want to share that with you. It's such a huge topic for us women in particular, right? And when I first decided to speak about this topic, it was because of an experience that one of my clients was having after we had been going through a process. And if anyone's worked with me before, they know that my foundation, the foundation of the work that I do is what I call the 3 powers. So it's power, powerless, and empowered. And so power and powerless, and I'm not going to go into it into a lot of detail. However, power and powerless is where we often sit when we're here on the planet, we're in duality, you know, we're sitting in this place where either we're taking energy or we're having energy taken from us. And at any given time, it could be either one of those things, right? Empowered is when you step out of that. Empowerment is, good morning, Diane. Empowerment is a different ball game altogether. Hopefully you can hear me okay now today. So empowerment is a whole different ball game because it's stepping out of that duality where those two energies need each other. But when you're in an empowered place, then you're not taking, and when you're giving, you've got plenty of that. You've got plenty of energy to give. And when you find your resources being stripped, you're aware that you're in a game and that you need to step out of that game and stand into your lioness power and declare where you are, that you actually need to make a statement about, you know, your boundaries. So speaking your truth, to tell you the truth, when I came up with this topic, it was because one of my clients had been already working with me. I think it was her 5th session. We were just sort of going over the process and reviewing how she'd been going. And she went into sharing with me how she had found herself standing up and just gently creating boundaries around the women at school and the committees, the school committees, who had just taken her for granted that she would do something and didn't ask her, but actually went into, this is what we need you to do, and you need to be one of the assistants at the sausage sizzle or whatever it was, and didn't actually ask her permission if they could take her time up. They just assumed that she would do that. And because we had been working through the three powers, she had already come to the understanding, because she'd already had another experience where she'd stood up and declared no, when she would normally have just felt like she really needed to, in the same experience, like with these women from school, and where she had realized that she was having her energy and her power taken away from her. And so she had very gently declared that she was choosing not to do something. So that was quite a few months ago. And then this was the second experience. So something really minor when in the big scheme of things when it comes to speaking your truth. And today being International Women's Day, there is so much around this whole topic, because when we are not grounded in our energy field, when we're sort of in the experience of being sort of half in and half out, and we're not able to retain all the information that is us, which is all in our energy field, it's not just in our physical body, then we start getting taken advantage of. So from an energetic point of view, we've got to be grounded into our base chakra, into the earth, so that our whole energy is down and we can access the wisdom that we are from our auric field. Then we're using our solar plexus to illuminate that power or that strength, that empowered being. And of course, we're using our throat chakra to bring, good morning, Sue, lovely to have you on here. So we're using our throat chakra to express that empowered being in a way that is not aggressive, that is not forceful. It is just stating where we're at, who we are, and our boundaries. And so there's consequences to speaking those boundaries or speaking up and speaking your truth. And I would love to have, if you would like to comment, have you had the experience, and you don't have to share what the experience is, right? If you don't choose to, but have you had the experience? Sometimes it's scary, right? To actually stand in your truth and say, actually, I prefer not to do that. Or actually, I prefer that you back off. Or actually, I prefer that vanilla ice cream to the chocolate one that you just assumed I was going to have, right? Have you had the experience? And especially if, we've all been brought up to believe that, not to believe, well, actually it is, but we've all been influenced from the moment we were born. We became an individual, and through that individuality, we started listening outside of ourselves because we had to listen when we needed feeding, we needed our nappy changed, when we needed love, anything like that. We had to vocalize that and externalize that experience so that we could get our needs met as an individual. And so through that process, our unconscious mind starts going into this place of, we need outside of ourselves to control our environment. It's just the way it is, as the experience that we're having as an individual, right? And so through that process, we start getting told, you know, as we grow up, don't do that, don't touch this because I said so, do as you're told, all of those things. And so we start realizing, well, if I do this, I get that. If I don't do that, I get praised, or I get, you know, like mum and dad love me, or, you know, like there's these conditions to our behavior. And if we were brought up, and many, many, many women have been throughout the world, we know the traumas and the drama and the injustices that have happened to women, and we're going to hear all about them all day today. And I just wanted to touch on it. We've all seen it. We've most probably experienced it in some way or another. Those injustices then also affect the way we speak, our solar plexus, whether we're feeling externalized and we shrink in. They affect our sacral, where we therefore, you know, have broken parts in a way without, you know, like that's not how it works. But, you know, there's parts that then lock in to who we are. I want to share, like sometimes they don't have to be big things, right? I want to share just one of the experiences that I had when I was a little girl. I was over at the next door neighbor's house, and they were having a party, and we were all the kids were outside, and they were just playing, and, you know, it was nothing major. And I needed to go to the toilet. I was a very shy little girl. I needed to go to the toilet, so I ran in to go to the toilet, and there was someone in the toilet, so I knocked, and it was one of the male adults. And just jokingly, he said, "Come in if you're good looking." Well, I just, like, it just was damage to my little spirit, and it freaked me out, and I shrunk, and I ran home, which was next door. So luckily I was able to go home and just go to the toilet there, but I never went back to the party. Now, that was so minor compared to some of the other things I've experienced, and some of the things that women in general have experienced, right? That tiny thing really affected me, about speaking up, about knocking on a toilet door, or seeing if someone's home, or that those little things can be so damaging to our psyche. And so it's really about standing up and saying, I'm not going to play that game anymore of powerless. I'm going to step back. I'm going to breathe and connect in with my spirit, and allow my spirit to come into my body. And in that process, I'm going to have more confidence. I'm going to have more of myself, more access to who I am. I'm going to have a moment to be able to pause and breathe and choose what I choose. Why am I choosing this? Because actually I don't feel comfortable the other way, because actually I feel like I'm being powered over. I feel powerless in this situation. And to stop for that moment, and even in the fear, to actually say, hey, I just need a moment to think about this, or hey, this doesn't feel right for me. And one of the things with women especially is that we really, it's okay to honor our feelings. Even when we find that those feelings are actually, thank you, Irene. Even when we feel that those feelings are, or even if we understand later that those feelings were really not justified, or in the situation, or they were coming from an old story, all of those things, excuse me, all of those things, even if that's the case, in the moment, still acknowledge them. So this is how I'm feeling right now. And I just need a moment to really assess how I feel about this situation, and step into that allow that to be the way it is. Know that you are okay and that you're allowed to do that. Anyone is allowed to do that, male or female, because for some reason we're living in a society that thinks that we've got to snap our fingers and move and keep making these decisions without having the opportunity to process them. It's our right to stop and assess this situation. Now, these are the sort of things that we talk about in my Lioness, Awaken the Lioness course. And as a lioness, you watch her. She is assessing her surroundings, her environment, right? Before she pounces, before she moves, before she brings her children out to play in the safety of the open plains, before she eats and allows, like even when her cubs, I've been to Africa and watched this, when her cubs are eating, she's sitting there and she's watching and she's assessing and she's processing what's going on. She's watching to see how safe everything is. So these are the things that we really are allowed to do. And it is a brave thing. It's about stepping up and actually standing in who we are, even if at any given time that who we are changes, because we're constantly changing. I watched a podcast, or I listened to a podcast on the weekend and was talking about how, like, from when you started listening to me to now, your brain has changed. Our brain is constantly changing. It's malleable. It's neuroplasticity. It's called neuroplasticity. And so we have the right to make a new decision, to make a new choice, to decide whether something feels right now and wrong later, and to actually bring that into who we are, be aware of our chakras and feel those feelings. Allow those feelings to be okay. When I was freaking out, when I was younger and I had no idea who I was now, that was the biggest thing, is to actually, because I thought everything I thought was wrong, everything I felt was wrong, because that's how I was brought up to believe that I was wrong. And so to step up and actually go, this is how I'm feeling at the moment, and I need to express that. Oh my gosh. I remember the first couple of times my whole body was reacting. My whole being was freaking out. And yet I stood up and I did it. And each time it was like this, chipping away, chipping away, chipping away. If you're someone that finds that really challenging, please drop in here, yes, please. And we'll get in contact with you, or I'll get in contact with you, because I'd like to I do free 30-minute chats, and we can then assess where you're at and where you want to be instead. If you're watching on YouTube, we do have this on YouTube, so jump over to YouTube, and Irene will put the link into the page so that you can have a look into the group. Go over and subscribe so you get a chance to go back and have a look at everything, and press the bell so that you get notified when we put something up. So if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching as well. Now, I've got a beautiful surprise for you, and it won't take me very long. I have, you will see it on our page. We are on our group. I have a new man in my life, and he is really gorgeous. He's got his faults like I have. However, he's an amazing poet. He seems to be able to just throw something together like that. And I asked him if he would write me a Women of Light poem. So because it's International Women's Day, I thought today would be an appropriate time to launch it. So you will find the poem on here. We're going to actually put it as a post, and I'm actually going to do a Facebook Live just reading the poem. However, I'm going to read the poem now to you because it's so beautiful. So you ready? His name is Jeff Barrow, by the way, and he didn't want his name on the, he didn't want any accolades, so but we've put it on there anyway. I bow down and honor the women of light, those who heal our world with pure love and deep insight. Mothers who tend their young and prepare them for their own flight. These women soar and illuminate like the full moon on a dark night. In awe I stand before them as they teach and pave the way for all of us to enjoy the precious gifts of yet another day. They share their knowledge, love and joy and give all they have away. They shoulder the bulk of the load so that others need not pay. These are the doers of things. They are the doers of things, the transcenders of life, daughters, sisters, mothers, doctor, healer, shaman, midwife. They keep our world turning in spite of our ingratitude. We are lucky they are resilient, that they have capacity and aptitude. We've burned, tortured, and hurt them and taken them for granted. Yet it is wisdom, love, and forgiveness that they've planted. They are the beauty and the light, the softness and the might. With intelligence and foresight, they teach us what is right. This soft power they carry, they yield it with knowing, not by forcing or beating, but with a gentleness of showing. We owe a huge debt to the women of our world who have continued to heal us and feed us as time has unfurled. This planet would be a barren wasteland indeed. It is more, not less, women of light that we need. So I'm just going to leave you with that. For those that are on the webinar, we will now go into a visualization. For those on Facebook, if you want the visualization, jump and grab that link, and we will catch you on the Zoom. And for those that are just needing to go, then take care, and we will catch you next time. See ya. Thank you guys on the Zoom, and I'm just going to share that and make sure that it doesn't come up. Wasn't that a beautiful, beautiful poem? So we have a little bit of time to do a visualization about speaking truth. So after that beautiful poem, it's almost like I don't need to, right? However, thank you, Yasmin. Lovely to have you on here. I'm just going to stop the recording. I'm glad I remembered to do